Living in Thailand is absolutely amazing, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't come with its own frustrations. After nearly 3 years of living here, here's what frustrates me most about living in Thailand. Good morning everybody and welcome to Pete on Retreat. If you're new to the channel, in 2022 I sold nearly everything I own so I could retire at 49 and move to Thailand. I've often said on this channel that if you move here, you really don't need to learn the language. But if you don't know Thai, life here can be pretty frustrating. I've been living in the Pattaya area ever since I moved here, and it's really easy to get along even if you don't speak any Thai here. Being a tourist city with a large expat community, most of the Thais know some language here, especially the Thais that you'll be interacting with or needing to interact with. That doesn't mean that you won't get frustrated if you don't speak Thai though. I think one of the most common issues that comes up if you don't speak Thai when you're living in Thailand is just with ordering food. Even when Thais seem like they speak good English, there can easily be different miscommunications. I can't tell you how many times I've been with people when we thought we clearly ordered something, but yet something else comes out. Communication issues around food get compounded even more if you've got different types of food allergies or, heaven forbid, you're a vegetarian. The concept of vegetarianism to many Thais is more foreign than Farangs are themselves. Another common issue that could come up if you don't speak Thai is giving directions. Sure, you could be in a ride share and say turn left here, turn right here. In those situations, it's usually not too bad because you could kind of point at different things, but try telling somebody to turn at the next 7-Eleven or giving more explicit instructions, asking if you could stop along the way to buy something, and you'll often find that the communication barrier is frustrating. I have a lot of friends that live here that own a business or own a condo, and one of the things that could be frustrating with the language barrier is when you need some type of work done. Trying to communicate how this light works sometimes but doesn't work other times, or some weird plumbing issue, can be a bit of a challenge, even when using Google Translate. I went to school for 7 months to learn Thai, and I still have some issues communicating what my needs are when the serviceman comes to our condo. So just imagine the challenge if you don't know any Thai at all. I think the biggest frustration that happens with not knowing Thai, that's common to many of us that have moved out here, has to do with our relationships. I think open communication and understanding is the most important thing when it comes to a relationship. Never mind the differences in culture that are going to be challenges and hurdles to your relationship out here. Communicating what you need, what you feel, and what you're thinking, oh man, that could be a big challenge. Again, you could use Google Translate all you want, but you're still going to find issues. After a year and a half of being with Goy, I could tell you that we still have these issues. There's often misunderstandings that happen just because we don't both natively speak the same language or don't fluently speak the same language. While Google Translate is fantastic and it absolutely helps, sometimes it causes problems. I can't tell you how many arguments I had with women out here before I was with Goy that were caused because of Google Translate telling me something wrong or telling them something wrong. So yeah, a lot of frustrations come out here just because of the language barrier, but that's not the most frustrating thing I think about living in Thailand. It should be no surprise to most that the language barrier, not knowing Thai, is going to get frustrating out here. And here's another no-brainer frustration: the weather. Many people move to Thailand because of the weather. They come from places that are snowy or cold or rainy and dreary, and Thailand just offers the opposite from that. I've been fortunate most of my life where I've lived in places that had great weather. Thailand, of course, is very hot and very humid, and what that means for me is that I'm really not doing a lot of outdoor activities during the day. I'm someone who loves going for long walks. I used to skateboard. I love playing basketball, and I'm just not doing that kind of stuff in Thailand. Yeah, I go for long walks, but I leave my condo at like 6 a.m. just like I did today. Yeah, it's hot in Thailand. You knew that coming into this situation. I knew it coming into this situation, but it is a bit frustrating that I'm just not out during the day like I used to be. It's not just about being outside. It's Thailand. It gets hot inside too. Sure, we've all got air conditioning and you could crank it, but sometimes it still feels warm inside. When the weather's really bad, you could turn on the air conditioning and you feel great in the room. You're like, oh, great, it feels good. So you turn it off and very soon it starts to heat up again. Sometimes when you go out to eat, it can be very warm in restaurants. Many restaurants here don't have doors, don't have aircon, don't have walls. So you're basically sitting outside anyway. Sure, you're sitting outside in the shade and it's a lot cooler than if you were sitting inside with the direct sun, and restaurants are fantastic with turning on a little electric fan for you, but that doesn't mean it's not hot. Another thing with the weather that's frustrating is that it rains all the time. Yeah, it rains in Thailand. Shocker, right? Yeah, I know. But after 3 years of living here, sometimes you just kind of get over the rainy season. I wake up many mornings wanting to come out and take a walk, only to find that it's pouring rain outside. Or worse yet, it's not raining, but it looks like it's going to rain. Man, there's nothing worse than deciding not to go for a walk because it looks like it's going to rain and then it never rains. And let me tell you, it happens a lot in Thailand. Living in Pattaya, I've got all these cool areas that I could walk, all of these trails and parks around me, but sometimes the rain just keeps me away from doing it. And these stairs should really keep me from trying to film while I walk down them. Now, I should say here that there are much cooler places to live in Thailand than Pattaya. Pattaya is nice, don't get me wrong, and I love Pattaya. Right now, there's this amazing breeze here. Pattaya usually has a nice breeze and is a few degrees cooler than Pattaya, which is on a beach and cooler than a lot of Thailand. But my girlfriend and I, we just went to Phetchabun. The video for that should be out now, and my God, the weather there was amazing. There are many places in the north and in the mountains where the weather is just so much cooler than it is here, and it makes me think that maybe I am going to relocate sooner than later. We've still got 1 year left on our lease, so it's not happening anytime soon, but who knows what next year might bring. So we talked about my frustrations with not knowing the Thai language, and we talked about my frustrations with the weather here. Both of these are things that I expected, and I think most of you thinking about moving here are also expecting. My greatest frustration with living in Thailand, though, is something that I didn't ever expect. Thailand is a beautiful and amazing country, but for all of the people that move here and retire here, I really didn't expect the amount of instability that I found since moving here. So what do I mean by instability? Well, first off, Thailand is known for having a long history of coups. I believe the number since World War II is like 11 or 12. It might even be 14. The last coup Thailand had was, I think, 11 or 12 years ago, and by historical standards, I guess we're overdue now. To be fair, the last coup and many of them aren't really violent coups. They just happen kind of more behind the scenes. A lot of times it's related with what the position of the royal family is versus the military and yada, yada, yada. I'm not going to get into all of that, but if the pandemic's taught me anything, it's that you never know what's going to happen, and the idea of a future coup is kind of unsettling. That mantra is one of the reasons that I sold everything and moved to Thailand to begin with. You never know what's going to happen, and after living through the pandemic, I changed my whole mind frame on what I wanted from my life. I definitely don't get into Thai politics, both in my life here and of course not on this channel, but something that's happened recently is that the Prime Minister was ousted. Yeah, they could just get rid of prime ministers here. The whole political structure here is a bit foreign to me. I've learned about it since I've lived here, but it can be pretty volatile. The party that won the last election wasn't able to actually run the government because of different reasons. And so that just adds to the kind of instability issues that I see with the country. Something else that's happened recently is been these border disputes with Cambodia. Now, I don't live close to the border, but knowing that our country is actively engaged or was actively engaged with military conflict, people died with a country that sits on our border, that could be a little off-putting. One thing that's a bit different living in Thailand versus the West, especially the States, is how laws are passed and enacted. For example, the whole cannabis thing, from my understanding, and I am not a Thai historian, is that basically one person was able to sign a piece of paper that kind of decriminalized it or changed its criminal classification. Its classification as a narcotic, and from that sprouted this whole cannabis tourism and this situation where we see where the country has like 10,000 pot shops and that they are all over the place. Since this has happened, plenty of people in government have been working to redo it or undo it, and that situation is always unfolding, but you never really know what's going to happen here on that kind of aspect. These types of law changes and policy changes, cannabis was just one example, but one that I think everybody needs to be aware of is the situation and conditions of being on a long-term visa here. I did a lot of research before I moved here, and I knew that there were Southeast countries that were easier to get long-term visas for than Thailand. Since I've lived here, there hasn't been any really big changes to the visa policies, but there's been some small ones, and then that makes me question what the longevity of being on a retirement visa out here actually is. There's also this whole fear-mongering YouTube scape where conspiracy theorists and propagandists are putting out a bunch of scary information about the future of retiring in Thailand and how it's no longer possible, but I know better and I dismiss most of that stuff. It's still hard to completely block it out though, and it makes you think. Now, this last bit is really why I wanted to film this video today. It wasn't necessarily talking about my frustrations in Thailand. I wanted to talk about the new banking issues. If you hadn't heard, there's some banking issues going on here as far as expats go, and it's hard to know what the future is going to bring. Once again, we're talking about this instability with long-term planning out here. Recently, Bangkok Bank has shut down, well, frozen thousands of expat bank accounts. Many of these are fully legit. They've been following everything to a T, but they still froze them. Lots of expats here, people I know personally, and dozens of people I've talked with online got a message on their app through their phone saying that their account would be frozen in 30 days and they needed to go to the branch where they opened their account to deal with it. Unfortunately, there was no actual 30 days to deal with this. Most of these accounts were frozen instantly. Many retirees and expats living out here are on fixed incomes and may not have a bunch of ways of dealing with this problem. Imagine just waking up one day and your large sum of money, at least 800,000 baht that you have in this Thai bank, is inaccessible. This has been a bigger headache for some than others because you have to go back to the branch where you originally opened your account. A very common path into Thailand for retirees and expats is to start in a city like this, Pattaya, and that's where you open your account. But then you fall in love, you get married, maybe you move off to Isan, you move way far away from here, but you have to come back here to take care of the paperwork to unfreeze your account. Now, with the banking thing, we're just starting with the instability because when you go in with all the paperwork you need, even if you have everything, they're telling you that your account will be open in around 7 days. Now you're thinking, great, 7 days, I could wait 7 days, but it may not be 7 days. My friend's bank account has been frozen now for 10 or 11 days. They said all the paperwork's fine, but it's being verified. He went back in this week and now he's being told it could be another 2 weeks. Who knows what's going to happen at the end of 2 weeks? Maybe it's going to be extended even further. I've talked to plenty of people that have had to borrow money from friends just so that they could pay their bills and continue living their regular life out here. It doesn't matter how affordable Thailand is if you can't access your money. Now, luckily, I do have an account with Bangkok Bank, but my account hasn't been frozen yet. I wake up almost every day and check to see if I have access to my account. Now, that's not really the case. I use my account for paying when we go out a lot. You could do scan pay with Thai bank accounts here, and it just has kind of replaced cash for me in a lot of ways. But I assume that one day my account's going to be frozen. Luckily, I've had time to prep for this, and I've got other sources of ways of getting funds. I've got Western ATM cards. I could go and pull money out of the bank. I've also put enough money to cover 1 month's rent in my Wise account. So if I'm locked out or frozen out of my account when my rent's due, I could just transfer it from Wise. Ooh, that's a scary looking dog. Sometimes the soy dogs are scarier than at other times. Besides these things, there's other things that add into this whole feeling of instability when it comes to long-term planning here, but that all just goes back to that whole mantra of mine, which is you never know what's going to happen. Now, since I don't know what's going to happen, I don't fret too much about it. I can't plan for the unplannable. I have no idea what exchange rates are going to be like in 5 or 10 years. I don't know what the healthcare situation is going to be like and the affordability of healthcare in Thailand in 5 to 10 years. So I'm just out here planning the best I can and living my life. Shit, I don't even know if Social Security is going to be around in 10 years when I become eligible for it. So I plan on not having it. Yeah, that's right. I'm planning on Social Security not being a thing. And if it is a thing, that just means I'll have more money.